everyone. Welcome back to JP's Budget Collecting and another episode of Cash or Trash, where we, mock the hot comics of this past week and make predictions sure to go wrong. And as usual, I got my man Circumstances. Oh, maybe I can add him. There he is. It took me like 3 tries to push the button.
How about those Chiefs, huh?
How about those Chiefs?
Donking our way to wins. Let's go.
Whatever it takes. We like to make a little. Pat told him when he was on the golf thing, he's like, I never win big. I like to make it exciting.
We never cover this.
That's right. Never. Do not bet on the Chiefs to cover. You're going to lose your butt. So, yeah. What's up, Marcus?
Hey, I'm feeling good. I thought for sure that donk was going out, so I was super relieved. I did not want to lose that game. I'm feeling good. Drama's low in the comic book community these days, so that's always a good thing. And we got the homie GT Key comic in the house.
He was in here early. Yes, he was.
Thanks for joining us. We got my man John Saget, a.k.a. John's Comics with Kids, a.k.a. John Advance Forward, a.k.a. John AF.
John AF, there we go.
Deep House Gent is in the house. What up, Deep House? Always appreciate seeing you, my man. My comic book dad, Lorenzo from Indie Comics and Reviews, is in the house. Look for us on Wednesday nights over on his channel. Nice. And then my homie Tony Old Wolf is in the house. What up, Tony? I feel like I haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, the Old Wolf is hanging out. I was just hanging out with him last night playing a little D&D. So yeah,
Tickles. Good old Tickles.
Old Tickles. so yeah, we are here. We're going to be talking about the high comics of this last week. Only got 15 books to talk about, which is pretty much a lot of overlap. We don't usually get quite this much overlap between our two lists. But if you are new to the channel, what are we doing here? We're looking at every week on Saturday, I put out a video where I look at the hot comics from 6 months ago and I say, what are they doing in the market now? Should you have bought them? Should you have been patient? This is a video where Marcus and I go through and make predictions that are sure to go wrong because we don't really know what we're talking about, but we think we do. About what's going to happen in those 6 months for these books that are hot right now. We're going to tell you, should you buy, or no? And mostly it's going to be no. But hey, we're going to try to have some fun with it. Hey, Darth, what is going on, sir?
Darth officially breaking our political alliance here. That's fine. That's fine, Darth.
Wow, shots fired tonight. I like it. Damn. Marcus gets it straight.
Fair enough.
So how do we make predictions? We throw these books into categories, and our categories are straight cash, homie. Books we expect to continue to rise in value, like buying in right now. Hey, you're going to do good. This is a book that's totally going to go up in value. We don't make this prediction very often. A lot of times when we talk about this, we talk about maybe longer term with a book, but occasionally we get a straight cash book. We get our worth it. These are books that we are priced about right. If you buy in, you're doing fine. You might not make a lot, but you ain't going to lose any money at this price. We got our I'll be back. Flip side of that, worth it. Book's not way overpriced, but if you're patient, you can probably do better deals than what's going on right now because it's hot and in the market. We got our traps, and these are books that are 30, 40, 50% overvalued that just will not be able to sustain whatever is going on with them right now. They're making people chase the book. Won't be able to sustain that price. We got our dumpster fires. These are books that are going to drop 60, 70, 80% because fundamentally they just are not worth anywhere close to what people are paying for them. And then Marcus claimed I didn't have this as a category earlier because we were talking about it for something. And I'm like, yeah, I just don't really talk about that much. And my whatever, because Tom and Key Collector like to put a lot of books on that are like lots of sales, but they're still going for like $2. And I'm like, yeah, okay, sure. So that is a category. I just don't always talk about it.
I stand corrected.
Well, most of the time I don't actually put that in the rundown. So I don't blame you. So, all right. So, yeah, we got 15 books.
I love the first one.
No option like stuff this week. So we're going straight to covers. And we got Amazing Spider-Man 55. This
seriously. Oh, my God, this cover.
So one of the more popular, famous Spider-Man covers of recent years. This Patrick Gleason cover from 2020. And basically was hitting the list because Patrick Gleason sent out like a thank you message for like his birthday or something. I don't even know exactly. I didn't even quite understand exactly what Tom was saying, but yeah, he sent out a thank you message saying that this kind of put him on the map and appreciate everybody loving this cover, and it's been homaged a bunch and everything else. So that was why it's hitting the list. Still going for super cheap. I will say this is the first of several books that I checked prices on today, and Tom was like, his prices were weird today. Like, I don't know what he was doing, but they were weird. This one's not as bad as some of the others, but 10 to 25 raw, 9.8 45 to 70. Not a whole lot different than where the book's been going, but just there was a spike in sales because he sent out that message. What do you think, Marcus, about this one?
Yeah, I'm with you on this one. 100% worth it. I actually had this book, but it came back at 9.6, so I sold it. But I want this book back in my collection just because it's just one of those books of my time coming back to collecting. So it's on my list to come back. If I find this, I would pay 10 to 25 for this raw for a 9.8 looking book. Absolutely, 100%.
Well, yeah, for like 50. I mean, even for, you're talking about like some of these low end 9.8s of 45 to 50, like you couldn't even get it. That's basically you're paying to slab it. So obviously that's usually 45 plus shipping or whatever. But yeah, $10 to $25 for a nice copy of this one. Sure, I think it's probably worth it. It is a little weird that the raw copies still go for that much when the 9.8s go for that little, but it's probably just because there's a lot of 9.8s out there that you can buy.
You might as well just go get it slabbed. Like Randman said, there's plenty of these books around to be had, and the demand isn't quite what it was when it released. So I'm saying worth it, but you could probably steal this in 6 months.
Yeah, you probably could. So next, we're gonna, where's my list? Oh, there it is. Thundercats is on both lists this week because basically we got the announcement that Dynamite, there's a new Thundercats series that's been coming out, and Dynamite is going to reprint the original Marvel run in an Omni. So those are supposed to be coming out sometime in the spring. So plus this book, there's been constant rumors of like live action and all kinds of stuff coming with this show. So this book has been on and off the list a ton over the last like 3 years. But it's currently still way down from some of those previous peaks. 20 to 120 on raw copies, 9.8 470. I still put this kind of as an I'll be back. There's a little bit of buzz here. It's not really up much from what it's been sitting, but I don't know. This book is at one time was like almost like a $2,000 9.8, I think, and now it's like a $470 9.8. So if you want to argue it's toward the floor and worth it, maybe. What do you think?
Yeah, Tom mentioned that there's a movie rumor, live action movie rumor to probably come at some point. You've got the backer kit, which raised $70,000 to do the omnibus. So there's definitely a lot of interest in this book. But I got to say, I'll be back for this one. Any real news, any news about a movie is probably it's further than 6 months down the line, I'm guessing. So, 6 months from now, you're going to be able to get this book cheaper. Yes. I would much rather buy it raw than spend those 9.8 prices. I'd rather buy raw and hope I got a 9.8 than try and buy a slab on this particular book. So I'm more likely to say I'll be back on the raw. I don't know. I think it's a no thank you on the slab version of it.
I mean, I just don't have much nostalgia. This is not a series I really remember, so I have no nostalgia for this, so I have no interest in it personally. But there are people that do. But yeah, generally a book like this, I just put in the I'll be back whenever it's like, because it's been on off the list so many times, and it's such higher values than even now, and it's like, I just wouldn't trust this book to have like that kind of value. That I'd always just be looking for a deal.
Yeah, me neither.
Next. Lord of Brooklyn was talking about it, and here we go. We got Monsters back on the list again.
Every week with this Mark Spears guy.
If I had a box of exclusives, would every week I come on here and scream that these are traps and you shouldn't buy them?
Yeah, you'd be like, worth it, guys, buy mine.
That's probably because that's how smart I am. But I'd be like, I invested in these, but you shouldn't buy them. So yeah, this is the sexy cover to issue number 1. This book last week we were talking about it was like 140 to 250. 9.8 was like There was a $430 sale on a 9.8. This week we've kind of settled into like 200 plus, and I was kind of looking at it more like 2 to 250 on a raw copy. 9.8 was actually the 9.8 most recent 9.8 sale was like 350, so it had come down a little bit. So we're looking at 350 to 400 range. And I still think it's crap. I don't know. This book is like already went way beyond any of the expectations I had for it. Tell me where we've talked about it like 9 times. Anything new to say here, Marcus?
Yeah, I mean, $200 for a main, a regular, buy copy. It's not an incentive. It's not an it's just a regular. $200 is insane. So
now, I'm sure it's
more
a
than a
print book, but comparatively, but
dumpster fire. I'm a hater on this one. It's a really cool cover, but the idea that a new book in 2024 that just releases worth $200, that's just absurd to me. Absolutely absurd.
I put the wrong thing on that one. I don't know why I did. All right, next. Yeah, I'm with you. It just seems crazy. Next we got Mark Spears Monsters number 2, the 1 in 25 homage to Batman. I forget what's number. The McFarlane Batman cover. On the week list for the 3rd week in a row at the exact same price it's been on the list all 3 weeks. It's been setting at $70 to $100. It's went Tom's list, CBSI list, Tom's list in 3 weeks. And it hasn't moved, but it continues to sell in high numbers, even though the prices are setting in the same range for all 3 weeks. And I'm still on it's a trap train. What do you got, man?
Randman, or is it Deep House says he totally ignored this series and wishes he'd scooped up. And there's some, Common Tom even mentioned, there's a couple of great covers on FOC this week. There's the one with the 3 and the bride on the front, and then there's the other one with the girl in the black leather suit. And I almost pre-ordered 10 copies of it because I'm like, is this train gonna keep rolling? Well, like surely we've caught on now.
I would think so.
Yeah. But I'm be very upset if we didn't catch on, and I should have bought 10 of those, and we see those on the list because they are great covers, right?
No.
Say what you will about the prices; these covers are awesome.
I mean, Mark Spears is I don't know if he's mostly digital. I am assuming from what we're seeing here, but he appears to be. The art is fantastic on these covers. So I'm not going to knock the art. I don't know what's going on in the story. It just seems insane to me that we're paying this much for new books, but people are. So
and for an indie, a super indie book like
Keen it is a super indie book.
Respect to Keen Spot, respect to Mark Spears for what they're doing here.
For
it may be overhyped right now. Yeah,
the fact that they've created this level of buzz for a Keen Spot book is amazing.
It's incredible.
Yeah, it absolutely is. All right. With that, we only got 2 Mark Spears Monsters books on the list this week, which is by far the least that we've had in a long time. I would say sooner than 5 years, but yeah.
Oh, way sooner than 5 years. Yeah. But if you think about it, $30 is an awesome price.
$30.
You know what I'm thinking?
For a brand new book. You tell me you're gonna some of these regular covers 5 years from after they came out are still going for $30 on an indie series. That's insane value. It just is. Straight up cover.
Randman might be right on this one. The print count.
I think that's where we're headed. I think we're definitely headed that way at some point. Now, whether or not issue 3 is where we're there yet or not, I don't know, because it really took to 6 or 7 before Something Is Killing Children caught up to the print run caught up to demand.
Yeah, I think 8, 9, and 10 is when it starts to get a lot easier to grab them.
So, all right, let's get off of Monsters. We got Spawn number 5. This is I just find this is kind of an interesting story behind why this is hitting the list. $5 to $15 book, so it's not going for any huge value. 9.8 going for 75, which is also probably. This was not one I intended to put whatever on, but I did apparently on my thing. So what's going on here is basically this is the first appearance of Shirley Johnson, who is, and that's not even the name they initially give when they give Tom's review, is basically this is the first appearance of a serial killer in the Spawn universe.
Billy
and his final victim before basically he gets caught and everything is this little girl, Shirley Johnson. This is her only appearance in comics, but they are bringing her back in a new Spawn's book, like spinoff book. And basically the art shows her with like the Spawn mask, like her spirit has been brought back seeking revenge is kind of the storyline they're talking about. So it's interesting that they're pulling this character back from there. I put whatever because it was like $5 initially, but it's true. I think it's a trap. It's like early Spawn, a lot of different books. Like maybe this character becomes something. I have a feeling it's just going to be a little short story and then it's going to be gone. What do you think?
I'm going to go worth it because it's only $5.
Okay.
If it was anything, if it was $6, I would say not worth it.
Well, it's 5 to 15 is what the sales were, but yes.
I like this book at 5, maybe even a nice clean copy at 10. There's a lot of these books available. Yeah. And so that's something to keep in mind. But I think one of the thing about these books is that Spawn collectors hold their books a lot. Yeah. So even though there's a lot more of these, I think there's a good chunk of them that are locked into people's PCs, which I think helps the price for this. $5 to $10, I'm saying worth it on that. But don't buy it because you think this character is going to blow up. Buy it because you're trying to get the early Spawn run kind of thing.
I mean, that's my thoughts, but we'll see. It's interesting that he's went back and tapping this character that was basically a non-character. It was just she was a means to an end in telling a story before. She wasn't a real character. So it'll be interesting to see what he does with it and if it becomes something people latch onto.
What up, Creed?
We're going to move into the Creed books.
Jabez Creed. What's up, homie?
Hey, yes. What's up, Jabez? Appreciate you being here. Wouldn't pay more than $10 for a high grade. Pretty much. Right. Absolute Superman #1. Cover A first print hitting the list because of a huge increase in sales this week because #2 is getting ready to come out. And unlike when Batman and Wonder Woman have been on the list, this one's only going for $5. It's still going for cover price. It's just lots of sales of people trying to get this one, but this has not jumped in value. So this is the one that for sure I had intended, like, whatever, you're paying cover price, go for it. You said I was wrong.
I feel like if it's whatever, it's worth it, right?
Yeah,
if it's whatever, it's worth it.
Realistically, whatever it means worth it. I'm just like, it just shows my lack of care. It's just me having attitude about my worth. It's really what the whatever me is. Any thoughts on this one? Have you read Absolute Superman? It is the one Absolute book I have not read.
I like to stack, so I like to read at least 3 at a time. So I'm waiting for that third one to get into it. Okay. I am pulling all of the Absolute stuff. So I am pulling it and I will eventually read it. I'm excited about it. I like Jason Aaron. That's a Kansas writer,
I like Aaron usually, yes.
Yeah. And by all accounts, it's a great read. I did start the first book, but then I was like, I don't want to read just one book. So I stopped. $5. There's a lot of buzz around this. If you find it for a cover price, get it, man. Absolutely get it. And then lock in for the #2 and 3 and just follow the series. I can't say no to $5 on this.
No. That's kind of where I'm at for sure. Now I have not, like I said, this is the one I didn't get. I am like Deep Out says I'm the one that's enjoyed the Wonder Woman the most. The Batman's kind of like, So we'll see where it goes. For the read for sure. See that I think Superman's just the least interesting for me in general. So that's why I didn't even try an Absolute Superman. So
well, as Comic Tom said, though, he's never been excited to read a Superman book, but he was pumped to read #2 for this.
True.
So
this is true.
This one might be different.
I might be missing out, but I have the feeling that if it becomes something, then I'll just get a trade later.
Yeah.
Because I don't really collect Superman books either, so I don't really want floppies. So no, I could be. That won't be the first time. It won't be the first time.
I agree, Alan.
the opposite of still going for being worth it because it's still going for cover price. We got Absolute Batman #1, cover A, the first print, 35 to 50 at this point, 110 to 140 for 9.8. What are we doing? Yeah. This is not a low print book. What are we doing, man?
400,000 at least of this cover.
Yeah. I mean, we're doing what they did for Ultimate Spider-Man #1. And
where's that book at now? I'm sure.
I should have looked at it today, and I did not, to see where it was at, because that would have been a good gauge of where we can expect this to be. Because I did not. That would be a good gauge, and I did not look at it today.
Ooh, Alan with the worth it prediction. Nice, I respect it.
Okay, we got most recent cover A slab sale was 165 for 9.8. I mean, it's still going 50 to 80. It's still going crazy.
So
maybe 80. I'm done dumb, but I would not. There's between there's millions of these things between the first couple printings. I will accept that I'm wrong in 6 months, but I'm still saying trap that I would not spend this money on this book. I just would not do it. I have this book, and I would not spend this money. I'll be honest. I'm tempted to sell this book because
Me too.
Because I have it. Because it's
because that's the game, right? Sell it on the list, buy it back 6 months later. That's the game.
1 year from now, my reward's $50. So I
think that, Alan, it's really easy for us to poo-poo most of these books because 90-95% of these books are going to go down in value. So it's really easy to say all of them are not worth it. So you got to take some shots somewhere. And I respect that you're taking a shot on this.
I do think Alan makes an excellent point by bringing up the New 52 Batman. Because that book, that's 2012. Even when I got back into collecting in 2017, 2018, that was still a 50. That New 52 #1 Batman was still a $50 book, 200 plus for a 9.8, without really the Court of Owl's first appearances and stuff. And now it's significant. But since then, it has dropped significantly down. It is not sustaining that any longer. But it sustained it for half a decade before it finally, they got far enough into Rebirth and other stuff going on that it got far enough into the background that people started moving on from it. But even after Rebirth initially came out, it was still going for big value. And it took Rebirth being in for a couple of years before people were like, oh, that's really not a thing anymore, and stop spending that kind of money. So, yeah, long term, is this probably not a good bet? Probably not. But in the interim, I mean, you look back at Ultimate Spider-Man #1, the original one, that has a lot of love. People love that series. They have a lot of nostalgia for that series. So this series is going to have to run for a while and build that kind of love in the community. But that's a $300 plus 9.8 still, and a $60, $70 book. So am I way off here? Probably, but I just don't think I just wouldn't pay it. That's where I'm at.
Yeah. And Lorenzo says if it hits $100, I'm selling. You damn right, I'm selling.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, for sure. So people are definitely hoarding this one right now. Yeah, I think this is really what it's going to depend on. Because they've said that it's not going to be originally it was supposed to be a 5-issue mini, which put big doubts on me that it was going to be anything that people cared about. But Snyder has since said, no, it's going to be an ongoing. So we will see. If people fall in love with the story, then it has a chance to stick. But I would err on the side of not and just get a second printing or third printing that's going for less to read. Is what I would do. Yeah. All right, keep moving here. I feel like we're taking a long time tonight because we had less books. I'm not moving. We got third or fourth week in a row, we got Venom number 39, the foreshadow variant that has the all new Venom on the cover here. 15 to 25. Last week it was like 10 to 25. So it's 2 weeks ago it was like 15. So it's up slightly from what it's been. But mostly it just continues to be a lot of sales. I guess we know sort of like we don't know who the new Venom is yet, but the new series, like, I guess kicked off. The number 1 came out this past week, like Wednesday, or is it this week? I forget now, but so the story is starting now with the all new Venom. So we're going to see where this goes, but yeah, hitting the list again. Any different thoughts than what we've had? It's basically the same price. I've had this and I'll be back all 3 weeks. What do you think, Marcus?
Nothing new on this one. I'll be back. I'm not really up on the Venom stuff, so I could be missing something here. But it's hard for me to get hype about a 2024 book like this.
Yeah. I mean, we know that it's not Eddie because there's Al Ewing, who's going to be writing this, is also writing Eddie Brock Carnage. So we know Eddie is going to be bonded with Carnage at least for a little while. And we know it's not Dylan at the moment. So we don't know who this new person is. And that's kind of where the intrigue is. But I mean, ultimately, do we think like a new character wearing the Venom suit is ultimately going to be a big deal? I kind of doubt it. So
what if it's
how much is the new Iron Fist guy going for at this point that lasted like 6 months and stuff? Like,
he's a beast in the Marvel Rivals game, though. I don't know if anybody's playing that. Well, oh my God, I hate that guy. He whoops my ass so quick.
I think Venom is Ant-Man. There you go. I was sending me in Venom soon.
I don't see that happening, Carlito.
No, it's Dylan's boyfriend. Okay, I don't know. Yeah, I know he's not all in on Venom. I am not all in on Venom. Next, we got the other Venom book. This is Venom War number 5, and basically we got the all new Venom on the cover again. This is the first Egnarak, which is maybe the other first I'm talking about because I've seen it referred to as 2 different things, so I don't know if it's the same thing or not. But the first appearance of the anti-Carnage, which maybe is Egnarak, I don't know. Anyway, which is something that like Dylan bonded with. And so we have the anti-Venom, obviously, we've had for a while. Now we have anti-Carnage. And I don't know. I've lost track of all the damn symbiotes. $5 to $15. And I think this one is like a trap. I think it's what I put last week and I just left it. So same price basically as last week again, just lots of sales. Any thoughts here?
If you can get it for the low end at $5 cover price, it's worth it, right? If you're into this thing and you're pumped about it, what's $5? But anything over that's a trap, 1,000%. Yeah.
Not Venom, but it was a different symbiote that everybody was like jumping on, and then it turned out to just be Scorpion, and then nobody cared. So yeah, it was Ray. It wasn't. I don't remember what the name of that particular symbiote was, but yeah. So
too many symbiotes, hard to keep carrying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty much.
We say that, but Spider-Man. There's always a new Spider-Man character in that.
I know. Well, there's 8 billion of them too. And next, yes, too much Venom. Yes. We got Uncanny X-Men 120, the cameo appearance of Alpha Flight. And this is basically hitting the list because Kevin Feige mentioned Alpha Flight again. They come up every so often. We'd love to do them at some point. And that's all we got. So people started buying the cameo of Alpha Flight again. 20 to 150 on raw sales in the last week or so. And then, what did I do here? And Tom said something about the average being 215, which there were no raw sales that high. And then I looked, and there wasn't any recent 9.8 sales. So they went all the way back to like September for a 9.8 sale of 2,700. And it's like, well, that's not even really relevant. But either way, I put this as an I'll be back. This is a book that has well-established value. I mean, if you're getting just there's no reason to buy it when people are talking about it.
Yeah.
Basically my thought process here. So any differences with me here on this one, Marcus?
It's just slight difference. It's the same thing I say about most of these like books, these real keys, right? This is a real bona fide key. So if this is something that you've been looking for, hypothetically, you've been looking for it before it hit this list, and you're just waiting for your right price. And when you find it, you're going to pay it. If you're looking for this book because you saw it on this list, stop it.
Yeah. Then you didn't actually care about Alpha Flight.
Yeah, stop it. Just stop it.
Yeah. Here's a tip. If you are a speculator, don't speculate after the book is on this list.
It's too late at that point.
It's too late. People already are buying it. That's not, you are not the speculator at that point. You are the speculee.
Yeah. You are not the sheepdog. You are the sheep.
Yes. So, anything on the list right till it becomes yes.
I mean, we've said it, Alan, right? 95% of these books are going to go down in value. That's why it's really easy to poop on all of them, but you do got to take some shots because there will be exceptions.
90 to 95% is a little strong. I've been doing this for almost 6 years, and realistically, it's more like 70%.
Oh, really? Okay.
No, well, 70% drop. And then you have about 20 to 30% end up being pretty steady over the 6 months, like falling net worth it. And I don't predict that many, but that's closer to the number. And then you have like 5% actually go up. Like, you know what I mean? So that's closer to the true range.
I wasn't really considering the worth it. So if you factor in that.
So you have, there's a small group of books that like, if you buy in, you're not going to like, there's a fair percentage of these books that if you buy in right now, you're not going to lose any money on. This is probably one of them. If you buy in at a good mid-range price on this, you're probably fine. But like, there's just no reason to do it right now when you can like kind of look for a deal and you probably do just a slight bit better. But that's just kind of, that's the difference between you get to kind of the I'll be back worth it range. Sometimes, I'll be back in the fact that you could have maybe got a deal, but overall it's still sitting in kind of the same range. So. All right, next ASM 15, first appearance of Craven, and this is the one that where like Tom's prices made 0 sense to me. Like, well, they only listed one price, and it was a sale from September, and they were talking about it selling this week, and I'm like, what are they doing? So I don't know what was going on with this one. Let me get the comments off. So right now, looking at prices, like raw copies, $400 to $1,200-ish, depending on condition. A 5.0, which like a couple weeks ago went for like $875, which is what CBSI was listing. Like the most recent 5.0 went for $1,580, so a huge jump on a 5.0 this week. That didn't seem sustainable because it had been sitting more like in that 750, 875, 975 kind of range, like 950 kind of range, under $1,000 for 5.0, pretty steady. And then there's this one sale that jumped up to like 1,500. That sale I think is probably borderline trap in terms of just that particular sale. I don't see this movie moving the value on this book. In fact, I see it doing the opposite. But what do you think, Marcus?
Yeah, there was some talk about maybe this movie not being bad, maybe it being an outlier in terms of the Sonyverse, but I'm getting early reviews that maybe this movie's going to bomb like the rest of them. I'm going to say the same thing on this one. This is a legitimate key. Hypothetically, if you're looking for this book, you've been looking for it and you're waiting for your right price, and you're going to spend that money when you find your price. If you're looking for this book because it's on the list or because of a Sony movie, stop it. Just stop it.
Yeah. Like this book is on my list, and I've been waiting for this movie to come out so that like 6 months to a year after the movie, the book will bottom out, and I can buy the book for a value that I want to pay.
See Carnage.
Yeah. Yes, for sure. See Morbius. Oh, you want to talk about a book like Carnage is crashed, but go look at the Morbius prices. Like, although I shouldn't say that because maybe it's bounced back a little bit, but at one point that Morbius book had like after that movie came out. So next we got a little Batman 497, the Breaking of the Bad hitting the list because DC has done a lot of like those direct-to-video animated movies now for 15, 20 years. They've been doing those things. Some of them are truly spectacular. Some, not so much. but now there are reports that they're finally like they've done Hush, they've done The Dark Knight, they've done Year One, they've done a bunch of Batman stories over the years. The Killing Joke, that they're going to do Nightfall, and it's going to be a trilogy of movies, animated movies, that they're finally going to get around to Nightfall. That's why this is hitting the list. $10 to $20, which is about what the Raw book sets at all the time. 9.8 bumped up to 100, which is a little more than what the Raw book. Normally, that Raw book's about 60 to 70 for a 9.8, maybe bumping toward 80. But the newsstand where it doesn't have the black foldover usually is more like a $100 book as opposed to the black foldover. Any thoughts on this one, Marcus?
Yeah, I'm gonna all be back. 10 to 20, what's 10 to 20 books or $20 for a book this old? But a book this old has plenty of copies.
Mm-hmm.
And so while it is only 10 to 20, you're probably gonna get a better deal in 6 months. So yeah, I'll be back for
I would say if you look for a book that this might like cause a little stir in that maybe lasts a little longer would be like The Vengeance of Bane, but I doubt it even moves that any, which is the actual first appearance of Bane. So yeah, they need to do Black Mirror. That'd be cool. I like Black Mirror as a story. Just need 20 more books. Wow, that's pretty impressive.
That's so impressive.
Yeah, because there's some big boys in there, but a lot of babies. Like I got a lot of big boys. I'm still gonna get. But yeah,
if you only need 20, that means you got a lot of them.
You got a lot of them already. If you only need 20, unless it's like 1 through 20, and then
save the best for last.
It's gonna be a tough. Is Vengeance up to a $400 book? Wow, I hadn't looked at it for a while. I did not know it was up to a $400 book at the moment. So, next we got Superman Man of Steel, number 18, first appearance of Doomsday, back on the list, only at 15 to 20, 9.8, 80 to 110, pretty close to where this book just kind of sets. But back on the list because there's a bunch of sales because of the finale of Superman and Lois. That
which
everyone
apparently was amazing.
That everyone has been raving. Well, people have been raving about the series the whole time. I have never invested in the series.
I'm gonna go watch it now.
Like, but people are raving about the finale and just the series as a whole. It was not something I ever got into because I kind of got out on that whole Arrowverse WB DC shows a long time ago and never got back in. But it sounds like this was easily the best of the shows. It's what I've heard from everybody.
I've seen a lot of people say this is some of the best TV they've watched in recent years. So I'm going to go watch it and see what I think about it.
But ultimately, it won't move the needle on this book. This book is just what it is. So
I'll be back for
that you should go watch because probably is.
100%. I'll be back for me. There's plenty of copies of this book, and you don't buy this book when it's on a list. So I'll be back.
Yeah,
I want to go watch it. Yeah, I don't like that WBCW stuff, but apparently this is different. So we're gonna.
Apparently, this was significantly better than. Next, we got Wonder Woman number 19. First modern appearance of Cersei. You can get into like. Obviously, she was a Golden Age character, that kind of stuff. So after the reboot, this is the first time she appeared after Crisis. And even now, they've changed her some now into modern comics versus what she was here. But apparently, she showed up in Creature Commandos, which I have not started yet. So that was causing some interest in this book. $5 to $50 for raw copies, which is a pretty wide range on a book. Like for sales, although most of it was more like a $20 sale, but 9.8 only one sale, but it did go for $250. I threw this solidly into the I'll be back category. What do you think?
Yeah, I love this cover though. Look at that bondage cover right there.
The first cover is fantastic.
Yeah, dude, what a great song. I mean, like, I'm gonna say worth it just because that cover's so awesome. I mean, there's got to be people looking for that bonded cover like that. $5 to $15 for a book from 1988, and it's a first appearance book, not a first appearance of a team book. So smart play is probably
it's a modern appearance.
Okay, but it's not the team appearance. It's an actual character appearance. So I'm taking a risk here. I'll be back is the smart answer, but I'm gonna go worth it on this one.
I wouldn't argue with you too much on that one. It's in my stack to read this Perez run. I have not started it yet, but I need to get it read. So Dunks and upon it. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Perez is a really
great
talented
cover.
guy. I do love me some George Perez art for sure.
It's the cover that's pushing me over to worth it, definitely.
Oh, I mean, the Wonder Woman bondage cover and
Come on, with her legs,
the sexy villainess with her legs.
Yes,
And,
yes.
Yeah. The TNA of this cover has got you like interested.
I'm a sucker for TNA.
There you go. All right, last book. Second week in a row, Weird War Tales, 93, first appearance of the Creature Commandos. Shows came out, $50 to $300 for raw copies right now. This was another one that Tom had weird prices on that didn't, like he cited a 9.8 sale from August when there was a 9.8 sale from this week, from a couple days ago that he could have cited. But anyway, $2,500 for a 9.8. Yeah, we're into. And I didn't change this. I should have after I checked that price. When I had it, Tom's price, I had it as a trap. That 9.8 at 2,500, that's a dumpster fire. Like
100%.
I mean, that's insanity. That's like Vision, first white Vision for $2,000 kind of thing.
Insane, right?
Yeah, I mean, no, thank you. No, thank you. Mr. Rayman's like, definitely eye grabbing. Yeah, well, something grabbing with Cersei and Wonder Woman. I've seen all the Bolin covers. I know all about those. So, yeah. Now, if you're buying this when the week the show comes out and you're paying a premium. You just are. Don't do it.
And on top of that, first appearance of a team doesn't seem to matter as much as first appearance of the individual people or characters. But I think they mentioned this on Comic Tom Show, and I think it's worth mentioning is that there's probably a lot of these books sitting in bins. So if you can go in there, go bin diving, you could probably find some.
You can probably find this one. There's going to be places that haven't dug this out yet, and may not even know if they don't like do the whole, let me look it up on eBay to see how much it is. That may not even know. So you can probably find some deals on this book and flip it for a pretty good value if you're doing some digging. But I would not be paying eBay prices for this right now.
No.
That's for darn sure.
No.
All right, absolutely. That is this week's list. We managed to go 40 minutes on 15 books because I was slow this week, apparently. But, what are you going to do? So
we gave the people their money's worth.
That's right. We're giving them our money's worth. Welcome to the Do Not Buy Show. Save yourself the regret. I mean, we say that, and every week there is one book or so that we get completely wrong. That's like, oh no, that was a good price. That was a good investment.
And to be fair, we did say a few worth it's. I know I did. Yeah. I said buy a bunch of them.
Yeah, we had a couple worth it's this week, and which is about right. There should be in 15 books, there should be 2 to 3 worth it, maybe 4, and on a really good week, and then 1 probably that's going to be up. We didn't predict any ups. We didn't predict any straight cashes, but that's probably what you're looking at. But the other 10 to 12 are not. So, and that's really what the percentage is. So, there you go. We must have.
Great chat tonight, guys.
Yeah, we had a great chat.
all the feedback in the chat. Good stuff, guys.
Yeah, appreciate you guys hanging out with us, Alan and Deep House and Mr. Ray.
Homie
Darth, Indie Comics and Reviews, Big Compton. Appreciate all you guys hanging out with us. So, with that,
and shout out to everybody watching on the replay. Cannot forget them
for sure. With that, Marcus, you got anything you want to pitch real quick?
FOC and Chill every Tuesday night. I may take tomorrow night off, but I always say that and I end up going live anyway. So check for me Tuesday nights, FOC and Chill. We'll see what the homies want to talk about. Link is always in the chat. I do not control what the show is about. It depends on who comes, who shows up, and what do they want to talk about. And then, of course, Wednesday nights with my comic book dad, Lorenzo, over at Indie Comics and Reviews. We do that new comic book day show and always have a good time. So
you're saying I could just come in tomorrow night and overtake your show and talk about Arcane, which is my new obsession that I'm watching on Netflix?
Absolutely. Especially if you can get the crowd to go with you. Yeah.
I know.
If you watch the show, there's times where I can't even get a word in. Man. Seriously.
I think that's when you like the show the best, is when you just sit there and watch the chaos.
For sure.
All right, fellas. Well, with that, we're going to get out of here. Thank you guys for hanging out, and we will Catch you next time. Later.